הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. 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 הללויה, 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 הללויה. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
As Cantor sang words, how great it is or how wonderful it is for all of us to be able to sit together. Hallelujah. And as we get ready to conclude our Shabbat, we bookend this short service, this celebration, with a song that we began Shabbat with as well, with those words of how wonderful it is to be able to be together as part of the Temple Shir Shalom community, with our family, with our friends, to be able to celebrate this magical moment when we conclude Shabbat and begin our next week.
Just as last night we began Shabbat with a blessing over the wine, so as we say goodbye to Shabbat, we say that same blessing, reminding us the sweetness, this pause in our week, this moment to reflect and give thanks and appreciate blessings that are truly there for us. With this wine together, as we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen. Bless you, God, who brings us the sweetness of life, the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen, borei pri hagafen. Lai lai
Next blessing that we say is over fragrant spices and smells that we have. And I think it's one of the cool traditions that we have that you can use any spice that you want to be able to say this blessing. So if you have something in your spice cabinet like cardamom or cinnamon, something that smells good to you, feel free to use that, to grab that. Or you can go out into your garden if you have one of those growing already, which we've been lucky enough to have this year, start off and grab some basil or some mint or some thyme to be able to use. And the idea is that as we smell these fragrant spices, that it's supposed to be a reminder of our time during Shabbat, that it was a sweet time, a wonderful time, and that we look forward to being able to celebrate Shabbat again next week on Friday night as we begin Shabbat. But until that time, when we feel those pains of missing the special time that we had, that we smell these spices to remind us of it and know and help us know that we too will be able to celebrate this time again next week. So we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Mine Visamim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, creator of the fruits of the spices.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei besamim borei minei besamim amen.
With our third blessing, we say so over the braided candle that comes together with all of these wicks into this great flame. The drama of Havdalah is sort of wrapped up into this. A reminder, of course, of how all the days in the week come together with Shabbat, and how this one day brings light into our lives, illuminates our path in a sense, by just letting us appreciate and giving ourselves pause, looking back on what's been a blessing for us, making sure we find that blessing. I love the teaching, too, of how we're able to feel that flame and even put our hands before it and see the miraculousness of the intricacies of creation in our own hand. That in pausing on Shabbat, we see the miracle of creation of our world and the beauty of things that grow, the green grasses, the flowers that abound now, and how special it is. But so often in life, we run past them and just take it for granted. So the reality of Shabbat, the flame, the blessing is all that reminder as we give thanks for that which is a part of our life and illuminates our days. As we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'esh. Bless you, God, who has brought light the fire of this flame.
And with the final blessing of Havdalah, we take a moment to say goodbye to Shabbat and to welcome our new week. Havdalah, the service, literally means separation, that word. And that's what we're doing as we conclude when we listen to the sound of that candle dipping inside the wine, that we get to use all of our senses throughout this. A beautiful service that really helps us to get ready for that new week. And so in a moment, as we sing these words, make sure that you listen closely for the sound that it comes from. You say, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who separates the holy from the profane.
Join me in the nigun one more time. Shavua tov, 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 a good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy increase, a good week, a week
So with the conclusion of Shabbat, we thought it'd be nice to share another song to end our service with tonight and to remind us of the values we've been talking about, not just this week, this month, but really that so much are a part of who we are as a congregation of a community. Here at the end of June, as we approach these days, and many are marking it as a Pride Shabbat for this month, also the reality of what we've been noticing and recognizing and honoring in this world of Black Lives Matter and the necessity for us standing together and combating racism and understanding the realities in our world and the work that we need to do. So do we recognize the beauty of all of us coming together and accepting one another for who we are with our differences, honoring those as well, not trying to change one another. And Josh Nelson, one of the contemporary musicians who writes music for our services for the Jewish world, composed this beautiful song that reminds us of that if your God is my God, then we're in this together in a sense. So let's sing this with Cantor as our friend Brian Fishman has been helping behind the scenes, puts the lyrics up for us to follow along.
If your God is my God, and my God is everything, aren't we all part of one God? So let your God be my God, and my God be everything. Oh, we all know we're all part of one God. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only, before our one and only. If your love is my love, and my love is everything, aren't we all part of one love? So let your love be my love, and our love be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one love. So open up your heart. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only, before our one and only. If your heart is my heart, if your heart is my heart, and my heart is everything, aren't we all part of one heart? So let your heart be my heart, and our heart be everything. Oh, we all know we're all part of one God. So open up your heart. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only, before our one and only.
So thank you for joining us as we concluded Shabbat together and making our community, connecting with one another and making sure that we've stayed connected. And so always, as we say, please stay safe, stay healthy, take care of one another. As we say, Shavua Tov, may you have a good week.
Shavua Tov. Have a great week.
Shavua Tov, a great week.
Daddy, stop the video.